was a certain restaurant that, because of the way they cooked the food, it would leave an aroma on your clothes. Now, I could always tell the people that had eaten there before they came to church on Wednesday night. Now, I didn't mind. It didn't stink or anything like that. Matter of fact, it usually made me hungry. Isn't it amazing how that works? They didn't talk about where they went. They didn't talk about what they had or even the name of the restaurant. All they did was show up. And you knew exactly where they'd been because of the aroma that had been made on their clothes. Isn't that how Christianity is supposed to work? Aren't we supposed to be an enticement to the world? We should have so much of Christ in us that the aroma of His presence should be coming off of us when we get around people. And just so you'll know that I'm not off my rocker, this is talked about in 2 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 15. This is what it says. Our lives are a fragrance presented to Christ by God. But now this fragrance is perceived differently by those being saved and those that are perishing. Did you notice that our lives and the offerings we give from our lives are called a fragrance to God? That is why it's so important to live the right kind of life and do the right kind of things once we commit our lives to Him. But then the blessing of God in our lives and the presence of God in our lives is also noticeable to those that are around us. Now, however, it is perceived differently. To the unsaved, they think this is all a bunch of stuff that we just do so we can be rich. In other words, they think that it's sprayed on. It's a sprayed on fragrance, like perfume. But for those of us that are Christians, they know that the fragrance we're putting off is life-giving fragrance. I'm glad the spiritual essence coming from me is natural for me as a Christian and not something that is man-made or applied. So the next time you get a whiff of a certain aroma, remember that if you claim to be a Christian, you ought to be emanating an aroma too. Question is the aroma coming from you pleasing and life-giving, or is it fake and empty? You'll know after you take your shower. What you get at the restaurant washes off, but what you get from God will go with you for eternity. This is Curtis Terry saying, if you get around me and you smell some Axe body spray, that's not the fragrance of God. It's just something I like to wear. But hopefully, once that's worn off, the fragrance of God will still be there. Hey, it's just a thought.